Was new was new. Back with some more picks today. Yesterday went all right. Went in 1-1. We usually like to do better than that though. Got the Bucks game. We picked the correct winner in that one. We got the Bucks minus 3.5, but they ended up winning by only two. Took overtime to do it. Chris Middleton hit a game winner. So shout out to them. But they didn't get me to win. So you know what I'm saying. It is what it is. I'm probably gonna pick the Heat next game. Honestly, I think that series is gonna be real back and forth. I see it going 6 or 7 games. I think the Bucks will ultimately win. Um, Also picked the Nets. Picked the Nets -8. Um, was looking real shaky in the first half. I think the Celtics were up in the half by I think like 10 points going into halftime. But the Nets came out and they just turned it on. And that team is just too scary, man. It's gonna be too much to handle for the Celtics, man. They have three guys where you can just hand them the ball and say make a play, score a bucket, and most of the time they'll do it. It's even more dangerous than the Warriors. In that regard, what I'm saying, when the Warriors had KD, the super team Warriors, a couple years ago, it's even more dangerous when it comes to that because the Warriors had Steph and KD that can do that. Just hand the ball and hey, get a bucket and they can do it. But Clay, he's not that type of guy. He's more of a catch and shoot guy. Draymond's definitely not the type of guy. But the Nets, man, really any possession, they could just say, here's the ball, Kyrie, go score. Here's the ball, KD, go score. Here's the ball, Harden, go score, make a play. They have three guys that you can do that with. It's really, and they have Joe Harris, who's like a ridiculous three-point shooter that they can, pass to. It's really going to be dangerous, man. I think the Nets will, face a real test, but I don't think it's going to be from the Celtics. Personally, I can't stand the Nets, being a Knicks fan, but I'm going to benefit from them, when the opportunity presents itself. In this Celtics series, there's a lot of opportunities here. That's all I'll say. I see them winning, 4 or 5 games. Oh, yeah, and I'm forgetting something because we got the Atlanta Hawks going to New York, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, take on the Knicks, my New York Knicks. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks haven't been in the playoffs since I was like 14 years old, man. It's been a long time, man. I've been waiting for this for a long time, man. I cannot lie. I did not expect to be here. I expected to be thinking about the lottery and looking up footage of dudes who are in college. Ooh, man, we should get this guy. He'll fit perfect, blah, blah. I'm not used to this, man. We in the playoffs, man. It's playoff basketball, man. I'm ready, man. Let's go, man. I'm hella excited for this, man. I cannot lie. Overall, I think this is going to be a very even series. I see it going 7 games. That's my prediction. And I don't really have a prediction on who's going to win the series, to be honest with you. I just see it going 7 games. I think the Hawks can win it, to be honest. I don't think they're to be taken lightly. They're a really good team, very scary team, lots of offensive weapons. And then the Knicks, great defensive team, play a more playoff style basketball, than the Hawks do. So I think playoffs could benefit the Knicks here. But there's a lot of questions going into this series. A lot of questions going into this game. First of all, let's cover the injuries. Get that out the way. Cam Reddish will be out for the Hawks, and then Goodwin will be out for the year. Good luck to Goodwin, man. I don't really know what's going on with him, but it says he's out for the year with illness, so that's not really a good sign. I don't know what's going on with him, but bless up to him, and hopefully he can recover. That seems kind of scary, but I don't really know what's going on with him. Mitchell Robinson out for the Knicks. He would be a very big factor in the series if he was playing. He might return during the playoffs if we can, advance past this round. But in this series, I doubt that he's going to make a return. And another question here, a lot of questions I'm going to bring up in this series. First of all, is I think officiating, is going to be huge. How are the officials going to manage, calling Trae Young in this series? That's a big part of this series, man. Because, if Trae Young's getting the calls that he's getting during the regular season, that's not a great sign for the Knicks. It's going to be very tough to beat. He's getting all these ticky-tack fouls, and it's going to be real hard to beat. How are they going to, manage that? Are they going to call it like the regular season, or are they going to let the Knicks be a little bit more physical with him? That's the real question here. Frank Ntilikina, he's a great defender. He'll probably be defending, Trae Young. I'm hoping he gets some minutes here. I don't want to really see much of Elfrid Payton, you know what I'm saying? I do think, Frank Ntilikina is a much better matchup for Trae than Elfrid Payton is going to be. Frank will typically get a lot of ticky-tack fouls called on him, and then you have Trae Young, who is a master of getting those calls. That could be rough. It's a real big question on how the officiating is going to be. That's a huge part of the series, and that's why you see Nate McMillan, bringing up that narrative of, the NBA wants the Knicks to advance. He knows that the refereeing is going to be huge in this series. That's why he's trying to plant a seed. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with that. With the Knicks, I think a big question is going to be how are they going to manage Clint Capella on the boards? I think Mitchell Robinson would be a huge, asset in this series. He's great on the boards. He can get those rebounds. Has much better hands than Noel does. Noel, he's a great defender, great rim protector. He's had one hell of a season. I give props to him, but he's not the greatest on the boards. And he's much skinnier than Capella is, man. I think Capella is going to have a lot of weight on him. He could be, pushed around a little bit. And I would not be surprised if you see a lot more Taj Gibson than you do of Noel in this series. I think Taj is a better matchup for Capella. I think he would manage that matchup a lot better than Noel will. So that's another question there. And then, of course, another question for both teams is how are they going to stop their each respective stars? You know what I'm saying? How are the Hawks going to stop Julius Randle? They haven't been able to all year. He's averaging 37 against them, throughout the three matchups. And then how are the Knicks going to handle Trae Young? How are they going to, stop him on the pick and roll? These are the questions that are going into the series. But for this game, I got to go with the Knicks. I could see it definitely being a close game. But I think the home crowd is going to play a factor here. These guys have not been playing in front of a crowd this big. It's going to be 15,000 people. They have not played in front of a crowd this big in, a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Last 2019, 2020, they haven't played, a year, not 2 years, 1 year. They haven't played, in front of such a big crowd. It's obviously going to be in Knicks' favor. How will the Hawks be able to, handle that? Will they be able to pull out a tough win here on the road? This is the biggest sporting event in New York since COVID. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the Nets were able to get 15,000. I'm not really sure. But I believe that this is going to be the biggest sporting event New York has seen in, since COVID. So this is going to be a really crazy crowd. I think that's going to, pay the difference here. I think that gives a slight advantage to the Knicks. I definitely see this being a back and forth series. But for game one, I think it's just going to be too much, I'm not saying the Hawks are going to come out and be stunned by the crowd. They can't handle it. Oh, my God, what do we do? But, the core guys like John Collins and Trae Young, they've not been in the playoffs before. I think, a real raucous and, a hostile crowd can play a factor for guys that have never been in the playoffs before. We'll see how the officiating is. I think that's a huge part here, too. But I'm going with the Knicks. I got to go with the Knicks here, man. If I don't believe they're going to win in the game, in this series, I just won't pick the game. But for this game, I think we're going to win it. Game one, I think, goes to the Knicks. Got the Knicks, -1, not buying a point or nothing. -1's fine. -1 for the Knicks. We'll see what happens. Hoping it's a good one. Let's go.